So if you're in HR or leadership, or honestly, if you just supervise anybody in a company, you know how complex performance management can be. The larger the company, often the less flexible the performance management system. There are forms, there's a timeline, there's a week when you have to have all the meetings. Everything is laid out for you. Perhaps you have started using strengths in your company and you are really excited about how it can help you with performance and you want to incorporate it into performance management. Now, there's a lot of information out there about how to redo performance management systems to incorporate strengths, and that can be great. But most of the time, as leaders, we don't have the ability to completely upend the system, right? And doing a whole second type of thing feels completely overwhelming, right? Likely changing the whole system feels overwhelming and unlikely, right? What if I told you you do not have to throw out your whole system to make it more human? You just need to layer in strengths. Today, I want to talk about how you can do that no matter what framework, form, or system you're using for performance management. So recently, I was consulting with a company that uses a very structured quarterly review process. Every person fills out a form every quarter. They meet with their manager. There are lots of ratings, there are competencies, there are calibration meetings. Everything is laid out and very, very orderly. The managers were frustrated. They were like, this feels like checking a box. I don't feel like I'm helping my people grow. The employees felt the same. We fill out the forms, we schedule the meetings, our manager points out an area or two of growth, and then we move on and we don't think about it again until the next time we have to do it. It was all about measurement and it wasn't doing anything for motivation. So here's the shift that I want you to consider today. Performance reviews should not just measure output, they should activate potential. You want your people to walk out of that meeting feeling energized, motivated, and excited about doing things even better. Even your highest performers have areas where they can continue to improve and excel. And you want the performance management process to get them started and to help them do that, right? They should walk out of that meeting energized and ready to go. That can happen regardless of the form you are filling out and the form that you have to turn in. Strengths is a bridge. You can use it to really energize the system that you're already using. You can still track the goals, you can still track the competencies, but now you're adding a lens of how does this person naturally succeed? How do we help them get better at the things they're already doing really well? This hopefully changes the entire conversation and it becomes about insight and motivation, not just oversight. So today I want to give you three ways, and there are others, but three really specific ways that you can layer strengths into your existing system. My first and favorite way to layer strengths into performance management is with goal setting. Most of the time in performance management, one of the things we do is we set goals for the next quarter, the next month, the next year, whatever it is. We have people set goals and we use the SMART system and we make sure it's specific and measurable and trackable and all the things. But the question we forget to ask is how should you go about reaching this outcome? We've defined this goal, this outcome, but we want to ask three questions. One is, what do your strengths say about how you should go about reaching this outcome? For different people, they need to do it different ways. So I will give you one of my favorite examples. If you have somebody who needs to write an article every week, you will have people with discipline and focus who the ideal way for them to write is to write for 30 minutes every day at 8 a.m. when they first sit down at their desk on a regular basis, right? You use that discipline, you use that focus to say you're going to write for 30 minutes every day, all the time. Somebody like me who does not have discipline but has strategic and has communication and has activator and some other strengths that make me a little bit less consistent in the day to day, that sort of system really stifles me and doesn't work. I am better off saying, I am going to pick one afternoon a week that I'm going to go for 3 hours to a coffee shop somewhere and just type and just write and write. But it might not even be the same day every week. Next week, it might be Wednesday. The following week, it might be Tuesday. I can still achieve the same outcome of somebody who has that discipline, but in a different way. So, question number one with goal setting: what do your strengths say about how you should go about reaching this outcome? And then, a little more generally, which of your strengths will help you the most in succeeding with this goal? And are there any that might get in your way? This strengths lens on goal setting helps us get really specific and will help people achieve their goals because they're thinking through the how and the why and the details, rather than just this is the outcome I want. Somehow I'm going to do that in the next quarter or the next month or whatever our time frame is. So our number one way to layer strengths into performance management is through goal setting. Our second way to layer strengths into performance management is adding a strengths reflection to the discussion about the questions on whatever form you are using, right? So, whatever form you are using, it's going to have a lot of questions about where they succeeded and where they fell, or where they failed or didn't do as well, right? Simply adding a question of your own verbally in the conversation with your person of where have your strengths helped you shine this quarter? When we look at the ratings on this form, where do we see your strengths showing up? Allows people to have a more positive outlook and to start really thinking about what is it that's working for me? What is it that's helping me achieve right now? And how do I lean into that more? So that's a really simple way is just to ask about strengths in relationship to the questions you're already asking, regardless of your performance management system. So that's our second way to use strengths in performance management is adding a strengths reflection to the discussion you're already having. The third way that I want to share with you that we can add strengths or use a layer of strengths in performance management is with development planning. Now, this is a big thing in performance management. We want to look at those weaknesses and we want to create a development plan and help somebody succeed. Often, this can feel very negative, and very focused on what's wrong with people. That is seldom motivating to people. And with strengths, we're really trying to use a lens of what is right with people. How can we lean into the positive here, right? How can we use strengths to identify energizing projects, not just gaps to fix? So when we're working on a development plan with an employee, one of the questions I want you to ask is, what do your strengths say you should do more of? And how can we create space for that in your job? So often, if we look at where somebody is not succeeding and then we look at where they are succeeding, one of the things we want to do is create space in their job to do more of those things that they are good at. That's their greatest opportunity for contribution. So when we're doing a development plan, rather than just saying these are all the things you need to fix, how can we make sure that there are some energizing projects in there, some things that their strengths say they should do more of? I hope this is helpful. Three ways to layer strengths into your existing system. We've talked through goal setting, adding a strengths reflection to the discussion you're already having, and thinking using strengths in development planning. This whole thing keeps the system that you're already using, but makes it more personal, makes it more strategic, and makes it significantly more sustainable for you and for your people. Now, if this is exciting to you, if you want to make your performance system work for your people, not just at them, I would love to talk to you. This is one of my favorite things to do. I love helping you take a system that you have to follow and make some tweaks to bring a more positive, strengths based focus. If you'd like to book a consultation with me, I'll help you bring strengths into your leadership rhythms without starting from scratch and without throwing away the system that your boss and your company says that you have to use. So there's a link down in the comments. I would love to talk to you about this.